Okay, good afternoon. So thank you for attending this webinar, which is recorded and will be available afterwards and will be available with the slide as well. So we're here to discuss the organization of the 15th European Connectathon that will take place in the Luxembourg in April in a couple of months. So I'm doing the presentation, but behind me, there is a team of people and developers that are making it possible. So I'd like to thank them and to make sure that you are aware that there is an entire team behind you. And in Europe, we have Abderrazek, and Gaël, Guillaume, Cédric, and Jean-François that are here and in order to assist you in the preparation of this Connectathon. So what we are going to discuss in this webinar is why we are here, where we're from, what will be the wrap-up to the Connectathon, and I will give you some information I think useful in order to prepare for the Connectathon in terms of pre-Connectathon testing and in terms of how the Connectathon will take place and how testing will take place there. And then we'll have time for question and answer, knowing that the only way you have to ask question is to write in the chat in the question folder from GoToWebinar, and you're not able to talk. So I will repeat the question. I will read the question and then answer the question. If in the meantime during the presentation you have questions, I will look at my screen to see if there are questions regularly. So you are free to ask any question, and I will try to answer them as they are appearing. Okay, so first thing is what we are doing during the Connectathon is not certification, and we are not there to do certification, but interoperability testing. As you are maybe aware, this year we will have a conformity assessment testing that will take place in parallel to the Connectathon, for which we have the ability to test up to 10 systems. There was a webinar early January to inform people about that. This concerns only a subset of the IHE profile. And if you would like to get more information about this conformity assessment testing, you are welcome to visit that link that I'm providing here, which gives you access to the recording of the webinar we had in January and the slides that were presented there about conformity assessment testing. So for what you've registered, this is not certification, this is interoperability testing. And the only thing that you will get besides getting your system tested and the ability to test with partners is that IHE will publish into the Connectathon result matrix the outcome of the Connectathon for your company at the company level. So we'll report that your company was able to test successfully an actor a profile, but we will not take give any mention to the version of the system and nor the name of the system that was tested. So it needs to be very clear that we are there for interoperability testing and not certification. Like I said, we are here to test the implementation of the technical framework, the IHE technical framework into your products. So there are two goals there. The IHE technical framework would like to get feedback on the profiles that have been published. And some of the profiles that we'll be testing are in trial implementation and will be tested for the first time. That's the case, for example, for MHD. And we need to give feedback to the committee on, is it implementable? Is it well written? Is there ambiguity? But also we are there to give you confidence on your product. So if this is the first time, if you have implemented a new profile or in your product, you will have the opportunity to test it with different partners before you bring it in production or sell it to your customers. So the testing will be in a controlled environment. You will get your peers, so your test partners. The test partner will bring, as you will do, the specialist of the system, and it will be much easier to identify and fix bugs during the Connectathon as it is when you have system in production on site and where your customer is watching over your shoulder what you are doing. We are also there to build a community, and a lot of the people who have attending the Connectathon in the past appreciate the atmosphere. We have a social event. It's an atmosphere of everyone help each other. You will be working with your competitors, but you are working on interoperability. You are not working on the core of your product. And for example, if you are a modality, we don't check the quality of the images you are producing, but we are checking that the images that you are producing will be readable and understandable by your partners. So registration this year is about equivalent to last year. We have more companies, but a little less system. That means companies are registering a fewer number of systems, but we are reaching more companies. As usual, you come from all over Europe. Most systems are from Italy, then Germany, then it's France, Switzerland, and Austria, and Netherlands. And the rest, you're from all over the world. We've got people as far as Korea and Japan, but also from the US. So now that the registration period is over, we have a better understanding of what we will be able to test. I'd like to remind that we are not testing what IHE want to test, but what you guys want to test. That means if no one registers for profile, then there is no way that we can test it. And for some of the IHE profiles that are offered for registration, there were no candidates to test it. So what we do is we have looked at the registration and be aware that we have still some moving registration and some people adding or removing some actors and profile. But as of today, we have reported on a spreadsheet a list of profile we think are testable and profile which are not testable or profile which are at risk. This is the way we are communicating with you. We are doing the same thing for the North American Connectathon. So on that spreadsheet, you will find a snapshot as the date of today. If you'd like to see what's the current registration status at the time you're looking at it, you can get the profile coverage. Here is our point of view. So I'm going to open the page. So that's what you should see. It was communicated this morning on the mailing list for the AU Connectathon. So you'll see that in red, we have not enough system registered, or we have missing actors that will prevent us to test it. In green, you'll find the actors that are okay, we have enough partners and we will be able to test it. Then we have some which are in yellow, where we have very few systems registered. And if one of the test partners drops before the registration, we may have to drop it and not test it in Luxembourg. So I invite you to review that spreadsheet. We'll try to update it as we go on, and you are adding or removing actors till the end of this month. So this is a way for you to discover if something is testable or not. The other thing is, if you find out that you have inside your product one of these actor and profile, which you could offer as supportive testing and then enable the testing of that profile in Luxembourg, please let us know, because by adding that to your registration, you may be able to enable partners to test and get credit for it. So review it, look at it. You have access to this document, and if you have questions, please do not hesitate to contact me or Angel in order to get some feedback on that. So I'd like to emphasize that the registration is evolving, and especially during the months of February, we'll have many companies who will drop actors or integration profile as we'll reach for the deadlines of log return. So I'm asking you to review this month, so till the end of this month, what you've registered for, what can be tested, and to let me know if you want to add something or if you want to drop one actor or one profile. It's very nice if you tell us, because this will impact the testing of your partners. If you have any question about that aspect, please let me know and write in the question section of GoToWebinar, and I will try to answer. Okay, so the roadmap, we have finished our registration, and at the end of the month, we expect you to have paid the fees for the Connectathon. I will come back on the fees later on. Today is the webinar. Till the end of this month, I'd like to get all your registration update and the supportive thorough testing registration, and we will come back on that. April 1st will be the deadline for samples and configuration sharing and log return. In April 2025, we will get the Connectathon in Luxembourg, and we will publish the results on May 1st, around May 1st. So registration changes, I give you the pointer to the spreadsheet, look at it, and you should know what you will be able to test, or what you want to drop. We don't like it when you tell us the week before the Connectathon that you are dropping something. The worst is we don't like it when you don't show up at the Connectathon. Some people do. And if you want to add something, it's time to do it. And especially, I'd like to stress the ability to register for the MHD profile, which was tested in the new direction part of the North American Connectathon last week. So MHD is a profile based on FHIR, which is still in public comment till the end of the week. Comments will be gathered and reviewed during the ITI Paris meeting at the end of February, and we will be able to get a trial implementation version of the profile early April. So based on the lot of requests we got from vendors who want to test it in Luxembourg, we have discussed a lot last week at Cleveland and decided to offer it for testing in Luxembourg. So this is a very, very fast track. You need to realize that there will not be a lot of testing tools. There will be some, but this will be minimum. And since the feedback from the people who tried it in Cleveland was very good, and we expect very little changes, so this is offered for testing. So if you want to add MHD to your registration, let me know as soon as possible. I already have a few vendors who have applied for it. Supportive and thorough testing. This is something the participants that are coming back and have participated in the past know about. For new participants, this is something which you should not be concerned, because you cannot apply as supportive if you have never tested before. However, I'd like to give you a pointer to what it is. Basically, if you have participated to previous Connectathon with a specific actor and integration profile, And if your integration statement, your IHE integration statement, has been published in the product registry, then you can apply for supportive testing. That means if you have an actor and profile you have already tested in the past, and this actor and profile will be in the system you are bringing in Luxembourg, but this is not what you are coming for. This is something you can test if someone wants to test with you, but this is not where you want to put your effort. Then you can apply as supportive, and then you only need to do one test to get credit, and since you already had credit in the past. So new participants will only have the choice to test as thorough. Coming back participant may register as supportive, and the pointer here gives you a thorough description of what is thorough testing, why you could do supportive testing, who qualifies, and which profile can be eligible for the supportive testing. So only profile in final text can be eligible. If you want to drop a system, you can still do it till the end of the month. Adding missing actors, removing actors, like I said, till the end of the month. Yes, and before the end of the month, you need to pay your fees, but before that, you need to receive an invoice. And I've got to admit that the invoices have not been sent yet. The delay is due to the fact that I'm missing the VAT number for IHE Europe in Luxembourg. Since we are moving country to country every year, we need to apply for a VAT number that we can put on the invoice. The VAT number is not yet available. I've got feedback from the accounting that I should get it at the end of this week. So everything will be ready to send the invoice as soon as we get this number. So you didn't get the invoice, but if you don't get an invoice before the end of next week, then let me know. What we ask you is to not pay per check. We ask you to pay per money transfer, and all the information for the payment are available on the invoice. The other thing we ask you to do is to specify the invoice number on the transfer so that we can find out who is giving us that money. Otherwise, we need to find out who did pay what, and it takes a lot of time. So if you want to make sure that we match your payment with your invoice, mention in the money transfer comment that this is relative to that invoice number. Usually there are transaction fees associated with money transfer. Please make sure that they are paid by your bank and not by our bank. Otherwise, we'll have to ask you for the transaction fees later on. So it's stupid to have to redo a money transfer for 5 or 6 euro or 12 euro fees. Okay, that's for the administrative part. Concerning pre-Connectathon testing, we need to do that in order to prepare your system for the Connectathon. So the pre-Connectathon testing, they provide a minimum set of tests to prepare your system. If you do them, if you are successful, you have better chance to be successful at the Connectathon. If you fail there, Connectathon will be difficult. If you don't do them, Connectathon will be more difficult. They are benefit for your participation, and as a participant, you get the tools. They are now public, but you also get the support for using them. There are mailing lists where you can ask support and you can ask questions. This is the benefit for your participation. So the tests are encouraging you to read the technical framework. For the profiles that have been tested for many years, you may find out that the tools are more stable than for the rest. In the new profiles, you may find out that the people who developed the tool may not have interpreted the technical framework as you have. This may be due to ambiguities in the technical framework, and we need to go back to the committee and write change proposal to make clarification. But it may be also a misunderstanding of the tool developer. So if there are problems with the tool, let us know. We are human, we make mistakes, and we will be pleased to get your feedback. If the tools have been there for a while, there is a good chance that they are stable and correct. So if you do the test, the pre-Connectathon test, we can do better testing in Cleveland, in Luxembourg, and do more in-depth testing in the Connectathon. So that's why we ask you to perform them and be ready. What we want to emphasize also is that the test tool do not cover all the aspects of the technical framework. And this is not because you passed the pre-Connectathon test that you have a guaranteed compliance to DICOM HL7 or XDS. All what it does is provide you with a reasonable preparation for the Connectathon. So it's the first step, and there are many other steps behind. So once again, if the pre-Connectathon test do things in one way, this may be wrong. If you think it's wrong, tell us, and we will fix that. And we don't want comment during the Connectathon that, oh, the technical framework said we should do it this way. The tools were doing the other way. So since we wanted to pass the tool, we did it the way the tools are doing it. No, the reference, our Bible here, is the technical framework. So the monitor will check against the technical framework. So if you find the tools are wrong, let us know. We'll fix the tool or we'll deprecate the test. But the reference is the technical framework. So how to do pre-Connectathon testing? First, you need to log into Gazelle to find out the list of tests that is required for the system. Then you can upload, identify the corresponding tool, read instruction for installation or execution, run the test, return the logs into Gazelle. So there is a starting point to get information about the tools. So first, if we go into Gazelle Test Management, as a vendor, if I take one of the system, I will get the list of tests to do. So you find out here the list of pre-Connectathon tests that you need to run. So you get the test number, and you get here the pointer to the documentation of the test. So you read the documentation, you perform your test, and you return the log. And when you return the log, you need to read the log outcome. I'm not going to read the logs for you. So read the log. If the logs say you passed the test, then you indicate us that you passed the test. If you fail the test, then try to fix the problem, or let us know the test is wrong, and then return the log when you've passed the test. So we are not going to check all the individual logs. We are going to do some random checking for log return. So you may be cheating, returning fake logs. It's not my business. I mean, I'm encouraging you to do the test, to be prepared. If you don't do your homework, it's not my fault. So you return the logs, and that way we have an idea of what you have performed and how far you are in your preparation. This is to guide you through the Connectathon preparation, and not to be showing us that you're good students. In that page, so I will show you how to access it. So from the home page, we have the resources, and technical resources. And you have a pointer here to tool resources, which is an index of all the IHE testing tools. As we go year by year, we get more and more tools. So you will get here an access of all the tools, who are developing them, and what are they used for. Then you get another view per domain. And some profiles have no test tool. So Gazelle should contain this information. So when you will look here, the tests that you need to run are based on the page we had here. So it gives you pointers, it gives you a status of what you have. So as I mentioned, Gazelle provides you the list of tests to be performed based on your registration. So what you see here is based on your registration. Different system will get different lists. You get the option of the test if it's required, if it's optional. And if you want to use that in order to manage your team, you can export as an Excel file and use that as to import in your team management or do whatever you want. Okay. Like I said, it seems trivial, but do not return logs for tests you fail. If you fail them, you can say you failed them, but it's not my job to read and mark the test fail. Yeah, and you grade your logs by indicating us the success. Okay, so the aim of this pre-Connectathon test is to are double. We want to test some on interoperability by using simulator, and you will find some of the tools acting as simulator. And we also want to check the conformance of the messages that you are exchanging with the simulator, and we'll do some conformance testing. So in the test tools that you will see, they are divided in different categories. Some are conformance testing tools and some are simulation tools. The simulation tools, we have different kind of validators, DICOM, XDW, XDstar, CDA, HL7, V2, V3, can be accessed through the EVS front end or through the simulator to perform the validation. Each time you'll get a pointer to the outcome of the validation report, and you can log it as a log. So the page that where it's located is the EVS client application. And for IHE, you will find the different simulation validation tools that we have available for you to use in order to check the conformance of your messages to the IHE profile. So you can use this tool in order to perform pre-Connectathon test, but also as you are developing, you can use it in order to check that the messages that you are generating are conformant to the IHE profiles. The second type of tools are simulators, and the simulators they offer a socket on which your SUT, system under test, will interact with in order to send or receive HL7 V2 messages, DICOM messages, XTS messages. They also have a web interface where you will be able to configure the test and ask the simulator to send messages to your SUT or to receive messages from your SUT. The simulator are bound to the validator, and the messages that are sent here and validated by the validator here are validated by the same validator as we used in there. Okay, any questions so far? Let's go to cat testing. During the Connectathon, the final aim is still to test the interoperability. But in the Connectathon floor, we'll do interoperability testing between two SUTs. So system A will test against system B. We will check that interoperability exists and that there are some conformance of the messages that you are exchanging. Conformance will not be a requirement, but will be an indication given to you by the tools that you are missing some conformance rule. So if you achieve interoperability but fail conformance, this will not be an issue in most cases as long as interoperability is achieved. So if system B accepts your message, pass it, understand it, also is not conformant, will not fail the test, but we will report to you that there are some conformance issue. So in order to achieve that, we use the Gazelle test management application, which contains the technical framework model, the test plan, and some value set. And when you'll be on the Connectathon floor, you'll be able to log on Gazelle, find out the list of tests that you have to perform, identify a potential partner, and discuss with that partner in order to perform a test. During that test, you will exchange messages between the two systems. You will log messages inside Gazelle Test Management, and a monitor will then review the test and mark it as passed or failed depending on the outcome of the test. In some cases, the monitor will ask you to redo the test in front of his eyes in order to make sure that you can do it correctly. In some cases, the monitor will only grade the test based on the evidence that you will put into Gazelle. We've used that model for quite many years, and we have enhanced it in the past few years by adding a Gazelle proxy into the process. The Gazelle proxy will be required to be used this year in Luxembourg. We have now been using it in Bern, in Vienna, in Chicago last year, and in Cleveland this year. And the feedback is that we have reached maturity so that we can require it for testing all the non-secure transactions. We have not yet the ability to test secure transactions using the proxy. So any exchange that you will be performing between you and your peer system during the Connectathon, you will be able to send the message through a proxy, and the proxy will capture the actual exchanged message between the two systems. That captured message will be then marked or identified into a test step so that the monitors, when they will review the logs of the test, they will always have the same kind of logs to review. In addition, from the message captured, they will be able to call the validation tool in order to validate or check the conformance of the exchange messages. So the advantage for you is that you don't have to query to search in your logs in order to find the actual message exchanged. Also, this is speeding up the process. One comment I got from a developer at Toshiba during last week in Cleveland is that he gained 1 day of testing using the proxy. So please use it, and we will enforce it in Luxembourg. So be prepared to it. I know last year we were accepting people not using it. So if you do non-secure transaction, we will require you to do it in Luxembourg. Okay, so I also wanted to point to that page. This is where we have all our technical resources for this year. I will not go into detail of all of them, but you have in that page all the the link to the mailing list that we are using for communicating with you. We are not sending emails to individuals, but we expect that you are registered on this mailing list. So that way, you can get an history of what we exchanged and search for previous messages before you ask for a question. So this is a pointer to Gazelle test management. We will have the deadline detailed Connectathon timeline here. And we will send you weekly reminders, and that will be available from there. This is the pointer to the profile that can be tested, which I showed you earlier. This is the pointer to the technical framework and some CP that will take considered there in Luxembourg. This is the pointer to the IHE test tool index. This is the pointer about the ADNA testing and digital certificate page. So how to get a certificate and how ADNA testing will be performed. We also have gathered here in that page training resources. So you will find IHE International training resources. You'll find test tools, training, and documentation. So the pointer to the user manual, how to use the proxy. There are some videos that were recorded. Patient sharing and generation, how to use the order manager, etc., etc. Using the NIST tool for XDS testing. So a lot of valuable resources. Then you have training about registration, about pre-Connectathon test and submitting results using the EVS client, etc., etc. So this is an entry point for all the documentation that we have available and where we will complete as we go on. So this page will be continued and will increase as we go on. Then there is a page for profile-specific preparation. So this is where we say, if you test that, then this is what you should do in advance, etc., etc., etc. Then that will be for network configuration, explanation for cross-community testing. This is not easy to perform. The explanation about thorough and supportive. How to review the Connectathon test, some tips, the logistics, and a Connectathon FAQ. So the Connectathon logistics, oops, pointer is incorrect. I need to update it. It should go to Connectathon IHEEurope.net. So that's where you have all the logistics for IHE Europe Connectathon, and especially about hotel, the venue, and that's basically what you need there. So the accommodation, where you'll find the hotel. You need to be aware that hotel booking deadline is March 18, and that you can get the access code to make your hotel booking from Ulrike at the IHE Europe office in Austria. Finally, to conclude, and before we start the questions and answer, There was an email from Dave Franken that I appreciated last week, and that is tips for new participants. He's telling us help each other. That's the atmosphere in the Connectathon. Read the specs carefully and closely. Test your implementation before coming to the Connectathon. Make sure your software is flexible. The errors or the point where new participants are struggling most is changing the configuration of their software. You need to be able to switch partner very easily. Gazelle will provide you with some means to get the configuration from your peers as a CVS file. If your tool can read that and configure itself based on that, you will gain a lot of time. If you need to reboot your system each time you change the peer, you'll waste time. You need to make sure that you can easily locate the logs and details a test needs. So basically, if you have read the test before you arrived in Luxembourg and you're not discovering them on site, then you will gain time. You need to manage sorry, your logistics. For example, the Connectathon floor is very large, and if you have a Skype account that you create for the event for your system, it's easier to share and communicate with Skype. We are promoting Skype. This may be discutable, but that's a choice we've made. But using Skype, you can ask your partner, okay, did you receive it this time? You don't have to run across the room to find out if he received it. So that's maybe a way to gain time as well. And finally, Dave is mentioning don't try to do too much. He's giving some indication on how many tests his team has been able to perform. And I can confirm that his numbers are correct and he's doing well. So doing more than 50 tests per person in a 4.5 days is challenging. Some people achieve more, but it depends also on the profile you are testing. Okay, so that's what I wanted to tell you today. Now I'm open for question and answer. We have about a little more than 15 minutes for that. So please ask your questions inside the question window. I will read the question and try to answer. Thank you for listening. First question from Martin. Where can I find the test data for IID? I don't know by heart. I will need to check. Okay. So IID. What is your company? Search here. Okay, so that's where you will find the information about the test. So you need to come with some test data. So if you are missing them, then we can discuss together about one-on-one. Next question from Ralph. For several tools like the EVS client or the certificate tools, a CAS login is required. For me, there was no login possible with the Gazelle login, got a 4.4 error. Did I make a mistake? So if you have a login in Gazelle, so I'm searching you as a user. The same login is to be used on the CAS. Oops. So apparently I don't have a login for you. Oh, sorry. Then off. So you can use your login on and off in the CAS, and using the same password, that should work. So let me show you. CAS login. If I do a logout. Oops. I'm using the same login as for Gazelle TM and arrived there. So the CAS service is running. If you still have an issue, try to clear your cookies. And if you still have problem, then we can talk afterwards. Okay, next question from Rade Sotonica. Schedule workflow B requires HL7v2.51. The Mesa tools are still using 231. When do we get test tools for 251? Okay. So for 251, it's radiology. So that's the tool that we have. So we have the 251 validation here. And we have implemented in the patient management and in the order manager the scheduled workflow. Now, if I understand what you're telling me is that the tests that are reported here are still using 2.51, then that's an issue. I will report that to Steve because he is managing that. Steve Moore is managing this tool. I will check why this is that way because that should not be. Thank you. I'm running out of questions, so if you have further questions, please do not hesitate. Okay, no question. Maybe it's the digestion time. So, if you missed the opportunity to ask your question there, you can still ask them on the mailing list, and I will respond to them, or someone will respond. Thank you for attending today. I'm looking forward to meet you all in Luxembourg. Oh, I've got a question, just on time. Previous Connectathon, there was one network cable per system. This is still the case? Yes. We are asking for one drop per table. So if you need more, you need to bring a switch. But anyhow, there will be Wi-Fi on the room for the support system. So that's how it will be. So you'll get some electric plugs, one for each table, and one drop for cable, for network. Last chance for a question. Okay, so thank you very much, and see you in Luxembourg. And I will store the recording and the presentations on the website and communicate the link on the mailing list. Thank you very